We got the FLIR camera out. Take a look at these temps. You'll see the hot spots in here. Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the ZOTAC RTX 4060 GPU. I did receive this sample directly from ZOTAC, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this GPU or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Now let's go ahead, let's just jump right in and try it out. Now let's talk about temps. You'll see we have all the panels on here. The PC's at a nice idle. We're showing about 36 degrees Celsius for our CPU temps and around 34 degrees Celsius for our GPU temps. Now we're gonna max everything out under a full load and see how hot it gets. Now we have everything under a full load. Let's take a look at the temps. You'll see our CPU's right around 75 degrees Celsius with the max well within that range, around 75, 76. And you'll see our GPU's fluctuating between 65 and 67 degrees Celsius, and that's right where its max has been. We peaked at 68 degrees Celsius. Want to point out too, what's nice is this is stressing out the power supply as well. So you'll see that everything's stable, no power issues, errors, or anything like that. So the CPU, GPU maxed out under full load, working great. So is the power supply. So if you really want to stress a system like this, you'll be in good shape. And now it's thermal cam time. We got the FLIR camera out. Take a look at these temps. You'll see the hot spots in here. Everywhere you'd expect. Here's the motherboard. Probably our hottest spots right about here. And then our GPU, you'll see our hotspots there. Looking pretty good. And then you'll see the backside here with our exhaust fan. Motherboard, I/O shield's doing its job, nice and cool there. GPU. And then our power supply right down there at the bottom. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, let's talk about gaming. For our benchmarks, we're going to be comparing the ZOTAC Gaming RTX 4060 with the ZOTAC Gaming RTX 4060 Ti and the ZOTAC Gaming RTX 4070. First up, in regards to price, you'll see the 4060 is our most affordable option. In the middle, we have the 4060 Ti, and up at the top, our highest, most expensive GPU out of the three tested is the 4070. Next, let's talk about VRAM. So this is going to be either GDDR6 or GDDR6X. I want to mention that the 4060 and the 4060 Ti are the GDDR6 versions, both coming in at 8 gigabytes, where the 4070 comes in at 12 gigabytes in its GDDR6X, and I believe that's going to be a more power efficient RAM. That means we can move more data, which means it's going to consume more power. So if I fully understand that, you have basically a higher performance RAM that's more energy efficient, so you can move more data, but in turn, since you're moving more data, you're consuming more power. Next, we have our boost clock. This is measured in megahertz. The 4060 and 4060 Ti both have 128-bit bus. Very similar in clock speeds across the board for all three models. You'll notice that the 4060 Ti actually has the highest boost clock here, but I do want to point out with the 4070 having that 192-bit bus, from my limited understanding, that's like having more lanes on an expressway for the data to flow through, so that's why you'll see better performance at a lower clock speed than the 4060 and 4060 Ti's. CUDA cores is something else on a GPU that typically the more the merrier. You'll want to see that higher number with your GPU to get better performance. So 4060 to 4060 Ti, you jump about 1400 CUDA cores, and same thing again when we go up from the 4060 Ti to the 4070. Next, let's move right along to our gameplay results. So for these tests, we compared all the cards at 1080p and 1440p with some popular titles available to play today. That's going to be the optimal settings and resolutions you would want with all three of these cards. We always used the highest setting possible without doing any sort of custom tweaking, and we always turned off RTX and DLSS and everything else that makes these cards special, so you can just get a nice baseline feel for the performance that you can compare to other cards, maybe AMD cards, things like that. So here's the results that we get. Forza 5 1080p Extreme, 109 average FPS for the 4060, 125 average FPS for the 4060 Ti, and 155 average FPS for the 4070. 1440p shows similar results here, 89 FPS for the 4060, 106 FPS for the 4060 Ti and 131 FPS for the 4070. Next up is Rainbow 6 1080p Ultra. You'll see 4060 coming in, average FPS of 174, 210 for the 4060 Ti, and 272 for the 4070. So pretty nice large leap for this game between the 4060 Ti and the 4070. Rainbow 6 at 1440p, similar results here. 4060 coming in at 111 FPS, followed by the Ti at 140 and 178 for our 4070. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 1080p ultra high settings, 4060 coming in at an average FPS of 116. We have the Ti coming in at an average FPS of 124, and we're starting to see some more of that separation for the 4070 coming in at 154. 1440p seems to narrow the gap a little bit with all three cards. So 4060 coming in at 86 FPS, followed by 91 for the Ti and 116 for the 4070. Far Cry 6 Ultra, this one was the most unusual result. So at 1080p, we're very almost dead even across the board. 116 average FPS for the 4060, and then we have matching average FPS values for both the 4060 Ti and the 4070. We get some more separation though at the 1440p settings. You'll see 85 FPS for a 4060, 99 for the Ti, and 112 for the 4070. Borderlands 3 with your 1080p bad settings here. 4060s coming in at 92 average FPS, followed by 116 for the Ti, and then 131 for the 4070. 1440p showing us 63 FPS for our average for the 4060, followed by 84 for the Ti and 107 for our 4070. So I really want to make it easy to try to present all this information in a way that's digestible, so I thought we'd look at the average FPS percent change. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm no scientist or data expert, but basically I took all the averages of all the different tests that we ran, and I wanted to see the percent change as we increase in model. So the 4060 is going to be your baseline. If you upgrade it to the 4060 Ti, you could expect on average around 17% average FPS increase. And for the 4070, jumping up from the 4060, you can expect around a 42% average FPS increase. Now, from the 4060 Ti to the 4070, you'll see that jumps up around 21%. So again, you might be saying, well, what does that mean? Well, I wanted to show you it in a different way. So in regards to price per GPU, again, 4060 is going to be the baseline there. You have a 27% increase in price to the 4060 Ti. And with the 4060 at the baseline, you have a 108% increase in price for the 4070 if you're upgrading from the 4060. Now from the 4060 Ti to the 4070, you'll see we have an increase in price of 63%. So let me refresh your memory here. We basically have a 17% performance boost for the 4060 Ti at a 27% price increase, and we have a 42% average FPS boost at 108% price increase. So it really comes down to what do you value most and how much are you willing to pay for it?